You think people would learn their fucking lessons from Gus Van Sant? No! Apparently not the hack called John Moore. Yeah, if this is directed by the hack called John Moore, that should be your proof this film is already terrible. But it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with the newest episode of Halloween Horror Reviews 5, and our episode is going to be for the 2006 shot-for-shot remake of the bastardization of the Omen. Yeah, and then this was a film that took me years to do because I was actually dreading to do this fucking crap. And you'll find out why, but the plot of this movie, it's the remake, so it's the same as the original film. A Vatican observatory priest sees a comet, and the church is sure that it confirms the eve of Armageddon, and the U.S. President's godson, Robert Thorne, who's Gregory Peck's character in the original is now played by Lee Schreiber, informed by the maternity ward in Rome by Father Spoleto, who's played by Giovanni Lombardo Redis, that his wife Catherine, played by the way too miscasted Julia Stiles, who looks daughter-aged, has just lost their baby and will not be able to get pregnant again. So Spoleto suggests that Robert have that another newborn child whose mother died could be the substitute for his son. So Robert accepts the child and calls him Damien, and Robert gets promoted to ambassador to London after an accident. Then Daniel's nanny commits suicide during a birthday party, so a substitute played by Mia Farrow comes to work and live with the family. And throughout the years, Catherine realizes that Damien is evil. And while Robert is contacted by Father Brennan, who tells him that Damien is the son of the devil, but then the priest dies in such shitty CGI. So Lee Schreiber's character teams up with photographer Kev Jennings, played by David Thewlis, who shows evidence to Robert that the boy is the Antichrist, and so they go to the town of Megiddo to learn how the boy can be stopped. So how is this film made? Well, this got greenlit literally a year before it came out, in July 2005. And Dan McDermott was attached to rights, and the asshole called John Moore would be directing the film. McDermott was later denied a writing credit by the Writers Guild of America because the screenplay was determined to be too similar to the script for the 1976 film. And he's absolutely right, because it is. This is the same fucking film, except it's lifeless. But Seltzer received sole credit, but he was not even involved with the remake's production. So that's a big red flag right there. Episode of the Script Notes podcast, Craig Mason cited an unusual outcome of the WJ's arbitration process. And literally, according to the audio commentary by John Moore, and the search for Damien Lynn spanned like Los Angeles, London, and New York. Then in 2005, the newcomer Semius Davy Fitzpatrick got cast in the role. Right there, in a screen test doubling the movie's teaser trailer. Then filming began in October 3rd, 2005 in Barandov Studios in Prague, where the film was mostly shot. The Jerusalem scenes got filmed in Italy, and the London scenes were shot in Dublin. Then after this movie was shot and marketed, because hey, 666, that's an evil number, so they released the movie into theaters on June 6, 2006 to profit off the 666 number. By 20th Century Fox. This film, predictably, got very negative reviews. Well, yeah, because it's just lazy, shot-for-shot, lifeless piece of crap. So of course it got negative reviews. And it grossed more than $20 million worldwide. I don't know why. This should have made zero money because it sucks. I'm surprised anybody went to go fucking see this. I'm really that surprised. Against a $25 million budget. As for my reaction, I don't need to say my reaction, but I'm gonna say it anyway. This movie sucks ass. The Omen 1976. It takes that movie, one of the best horror films of the 70s. One of Richard Donner's best films, and it fucking shits all over it. They don't try anything new with this. This is about as pointless as Psycho 1998, because it's purely all shot for shot. No new scenes, they do the same shit Except this time around, they make it just cringy and awful. Right there. Like, on the face of it, the Omen, the shitty version, would seem to be completely made. Like, the cinematography is attractive, the stylish moments, and it's obvious. Like, you could tell money got spent on the production, but it's an offset by, like, every other element of the film. Like, the 2006 version unfolds in this long slog to anticlimax. Like, for those who want to argue, but yeah, remakes are an unnecessary thing. This was literally coming out around the time horror remakes were becoming a thing. Ever since Texas Chainsaw Massacre was so successful with that trend and started that new trend, they were appearing like fucking everywhere. They were starting to come like all over the place. Every horror movie you loved was getting a remake. All of them. Some did work, like The Hills Have Eyes, that came out the same year as this. House of Wax. What else can I think of? Texas Chainsaw Massacre worked. There were some that did not. And this was one of them. Like, there's like no differences between either versions. They're the same thing, like, as well, like, if you've already seen 1976, then you've already seen this movie. You don't even need to go watch it. Because there's nothing to see here. And besides, 1976 did it better. Richard Donner did that whole film better. Director John Warr does not. He makes The Omen serious to the point of ridiculousness, lets everything get served up without a moment of levity. The tone is supposed to leave you believe that you're watching important events unfold when you're just viewing cheesy stuff. And Marco Beltrami's score is dramatic in the extreme and pushes every key moment over the top. There's no subtlety to The Omen. There's no sense of creepy foreboding. And John Moore, I guess, crafts some slightly fine dream sequences, a few decent shock scares, but they're just far between. Every other moment just has not a lot of suspense at all. What you're left with is just a film that really doesn't know how to end. And it moves forward to sheer momentum alone, and you find yourself wondering, when the fuck is this lifeless piece of shit gonna be over? How much more of this do I have to watch? Like, holy hell. Okay, this version, the 1976 movie, was about, yeah, they're the same runtime, and this was paced better. Like, the 1976 film at least went by quick. It was under 11 minutes, and it was better paced. This was the same runtime, except it's paced bad. So it feels like you're really at the 2-hour runtime with this film. Like, the leads, like, played by Lee Schreiber and Julia Stiles, they're stiff, they're wooden. Julia Stiles is so miscast. Like, their emotions or reactions are lifeless, one note. The dialogue is even, their chemistry is poor. Like, you don't have empathy for them in this one. When it came to Gregory Peck and Lee Remick in the original, you had empathy for them. Right? You really believed their romantic chemistry, and they were perfectly cast in the roles. Here, like, these two have no energy or no acting skill, so it leads you to think you're just watching amateurs from a fucking high school play. That a high school just randomly decided to adapt this horror movie to a school play. You use lines from the original movie in different scenarios, and it make things just look out of place, like the photo that gets taken in the priest's room, you remember that? Like, it looks more voluntary than the original because the room is huge and the mirror's tiny and hidden in a corner. And not taking its own picture, that'd be impossible because, like, the mirror, it's in the center of the room and it's the size of a person. And it's also ironic that the photographer apparently using a digital camera to take pictures and the director wants to use the same tension because since you're not able to see the picture until it gets developed. But how do we all start off? Well, we start off same as the original film. Like, American diplomat named Robert Thorne gets stationed in Italy, is told his son was stillborn. Unknown to his unconscious daughter-like wife, Catherine, this time around, Robert decides to adopt an orphan newborn to suggestion of the hospital's chapel and Catholic priest, Father Spoleto, and names him Damien. Robert and Catherine, they raised the boy. Robert's career ascends over the course of the next 5 years. And so, he gets named Deputy Ambassador of the Court of St. James because the previous ambassador died in a suspicious vehicle fire. That was caused by some traffic or something. I have vagrant. Then Robert assumes his position and settles in a large estate outside London. But then disturbing events begin to occur, such as the suicide of Damien's nanny at his own birthday, who apparently saw a black dog and made eye contact with it at his birthday party. Yeah, for all the fans of the original, the infamous musical score for the original, that's gone. Like, Miss Baylock, right there. An amazing performance from Gregory Peck. Those are all gone. And you're left with a just dull rehash that is so predictable. If you've seen the original, you know how this is going to end. And if you know how it's going to go, you know how it's going to start, because it's literally just repeats all of that. There's no attempt to be even new. Like, no, this is not unintentionally hilarious. This is actually so bad it's unwatchable. There's nothing scary. All the scary scenes from the original that get reenacted here, they all suck because John Moore sucks at directing. Even trying to direct scary tension, there's nothing creepy about it at all. Like, the original... Hell, this was from 1976, and it's more effective. Like, that is because, like, Richard Donner knows how to direct horror. John Moore does not. How about the dramatic scene where Damien cycles around and bumps his mom over the banister? The soundtrack in the original was perfect. Builds the momentum and the climax perfectly. This one, there's no mood build-up, there's no tension, and the score is just very limp as well. And like, it's like the writer just tries hard to match real modern events with the apocalyptic apocalypse, but they're out of sync, so you didn't really need to do that at all, and the writing was... Like, the writing could have been entertaining there, but the events were just invented to match the book, just to match a bunch of predictions from all the original film. And the cast was like, the whole cast was a bunch of misfits. Like, Julie Stiles, Liev Schreiber, I mentioned, they wouldn't in their one note, and they always look out of place. Lee Remick, Gregory Peck. Like, they actually knew what the fuck to do. Like, oh my god. And of course, the three British thespians, like, Michael Gambon, Peter Postlethwaite, David Thewlis. Like, this one, David Thewlis just struggles to make his part worthy. It's like fighting against the cardboard cutout of Liev Schreiber that was always by his side. And Michael Gambon looks apologetic for taking his bit part. Like, yeah, taking his bit part in this embarrassing remake. May Michael Gambon rest in peace as well. But he also looks embarrassing in being this film. Now, like, when it comes to... Liev Schreiber, I don't mind Liev Schreiber as an actor. I don't. Because as much as I hate X-Men Origins, I liked his Sabretooth in that film, and I liked his Kingpin and Into the Spider-Verse, and I think he's a pretty decent actor. However, I think this would easily probably have to be his worst performance yet. And probably the worst movie he's done of his career. Oh my god. Like, Liev Schreiber in this one plays as a bastard. And this time around, this guy makes even such stupid decisions. Like, he clearly does not know the picture, a lot of the proof, like, to, like, the very end of the movie. Like, it's like he's just confused as to what the hell's going on the whole entire time. Like, Gregory Peck, fine. Gregory Peck made some stupid decisions in the original film, except you kind of believed his disbelief more, right? You actually kind of fell for his disbelief at the decisions he had to make. So anyway, one day, Robert gets approached by Father Brennan, who claims to have gotten involved with events surrounding Damien's birth. Then photographer Keith Jennings, David Thewlis' character, finds several of his photographs contain many omens and premonitions of people's deaths. Then a new nanny, Mia Farrow's character, Baylock, is hired. This time around, the wooden Miss Baylock here. And tension rises when Miss Baylock starts to make decisions without the consent of the Thorns, such as adopting a Rottweiler for Damien's protection, which Liev Schreiber is all mad about. So, then of course, one day when the parents and Damien are trying to go to church, Damien starts freaking out at the idea of going to church, and it looks so stupid, laughably stupid here, that he attacks Catherine and begins experiencing dreams of her son, such as being a red-hooded jackal skeleton. And then one day the Thorns go to a zoo, and Damien causes the monkeys and the gorillas to react violently and decide at Damien. And Catherine wonders if there's something wrong with Damien. So Father Brennan confronts Robert again and tells him that Damien's mother is a jackal and the boy is the Antichrist, and explains that Damien has to die and a man named Bugenhagen, who's located in Megiddo, can assist some. So but Robert's like, don't come near me ever again. I don't want to see you near my family again. Get lost. And he takes off. And then, of course, Father Brennan then, you get the bit at the church where Father Brennan, the infamous death scene where he gets impaled by the pole. Yeah, he's killed during a lightning storm that causes the pole. You get the pole scene from the original here. And guess what, guys? This death scene has such horrible fucking CGI glass. A lightning strikes a pole, smashes through glass, and the pole impales him and the glass impales him. And the CGI looked horrible. Dear God. Like, the iconic death scene of Brennan from the original. Yeah, he had the lightning pole impaling him. It looked realistic. When Richard Donner directed it, it actually was a well-done death scene. It was a well-done moment. In this film, the god-awful CGI ruins it. The glass falling and stabbing his face. Like, this looked like fucking video game graphics. And this is like, yeah, this is $25 million it costed. Yeah, sure. This totally looks like $25 million. Like, there's even, like, the only thing that's even scary is that they were able to get this damn remake made. Not enough script to pull off over 2 boring hours worth of film. Like, the character development of the Omen, the 1976 movie, yeah, the character development was a bit slow, but it got better as it progressed. In this movie, where's the character development? Character development, where'd you go? I don't see, did you go there? No, I don't see it there. Where did this go? No. I can't find any of the character development here. I just ran off. Apparently they're still able to maintain the boredom and the rhythm that just lasts throughout the whole film. And the scary scenes they try to reenact are so dragged out and predictable. And that's so, to the point where the audience, like any audience who would watch this movie would probably easily would go, yeah, sure. We saw this in 1976, and it was actually good. Because Richard Donner, rest in peace, knew what the fuck he was doing. There's scenes that just get dragged out because they think dragging out scenes would be even scarier. That just make you so annoyed. Like the scene with the priest who had like no face, or the guys begging him to talk, like you just feel so bored and annoyed. Like, remaking the Omen, too. Like, they remade Psycho with a shitty remake. They remade this with a shitty remake. Man, it'd be like remaking masterpieces like Citizen Kane, or It's a Wonderful Life, or Gone with the Wind, or Casablanca. Like, it'd be like remaking those. Like, and they'd all be shit. The original Omen film is like a Polish movie that you can't really improve much of anything in a new version. You can't. And they don't even try. Because they don't want to. And they just think they can make a better film. When they won't. Then, Catherine later discovers she's pregnant and wants to get an abortion because she doesn't want to have another Damien in her household. And so, Damien then causes an accident, which Catherine gets injured, and it results in her miscarriage. So, Catherine ends up in the hospital, and while recovering in the hospital, she confides in Robert her suspicions that Damien is evil. And so, James makes contact with Robert and shows the photographs, such as a new moment of his own death, and Robert decides to rendezvous with James to search for Damien's biological mother. And then the pair discover the hospital where Damien was delivered since it had been demolished after a fire. And so they go to Subiaco and meet a deformed Father Spoleto. He directs them to a graveyard. They find the grave of Damien's mother, and it's revealed to indeed have been a jackal in the neighboring tomb. Then Robert discovers the corpses of his murdered biological son. And he and James then get attacked by a pack of dogs and they barely escape. Meanwhile, though, Mia Farrow Nanny goes to the hospital and gives Catherine an air embolism, or like discount daughter-aged wife, an air embolism, and she's dead. Then Wooden Robert learns about his daughter-aged wife's death, and so he goes to Megiddo, meets Bugenhagen, and receives instructions how he's going to kill Damien with several sacrificial daggers. So Bugenhagen tells Robert to examine Damien with a birthmark in the shape of the 3 6s, but Robert doesn't want it. No, I'm not stabbing my own son. Well, you're gonna doom your own world. Your son, this ain't your fucking son. He's an antichrist. So just do as he fucking says. Your wife's already dead. The ambassador's dead. Your original nanny is dead. Your new nanny is turned evil. Just do the deed at this rate. So, like, Robert throws the daggers on the ground. Jennings tries to pick them up, and then he gets another shitty CGI death when the falling sign swings down and decapitates him. Somehow this sign is able to fall down on its own and decapitate a guy that easily. Right there. And the people that witness it, they just look like... You hear some screaming, but they don't look like they even give a fuck. Like, this film even has no atmosphere, though. Like, the atmosphere in the original, it builds and builds, and it's very creepy. The atmosphere is blah in this version. And, like, Damien doesn't even talk in this fucking film. It's just, like, 3 words. It doesn't even have he doesn't even have, like, the evil, terrifying charm of the guy who played him in the original. Heck, the guy who played Damien in the original did cameos, and this is a photographer that got shoved out of the way by Liev Schreiber. That could be reminiscent of, like, John Moore taking this film and say, what? This version from 1976 version suck. You know what? I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna prove that I can make a better movie than Richard Dart. Out of the way, bitch! I can prove I can make a better movie than Richard. No, you don't. And you didn't. Because you tried nothing new. And your filmography did not improve, because then you directed Max Payne, and then you took a shit on Die Hard with Good Day to Die Hard, and you killed that fucking franchise on a shitty note. So no, and Richard Donner, on the other hand, made better movies than you did. He made better movies in his whole life. Sad he's gone. Than John Moore ever has. The guy made masterpieces like Lethal Weapon, The Goonies from the 80s. This film, the actually original version. This guy made many great films in his life. Many. Like, God, like, when Richard Donner's behind the camera, you rely on this movie being a strong movie. And, like, more or less, like, the exact script, like, the nobody director John Moore has, like, no clue at all. It's like he thought he could be cool as Richard Donner and make a better version. And Marco Beltrami's score is also generic, almost as bad as John Moore's direction. And we have, like, potential for, like, a great score. Like, Jerry Goldsmith did a great job of the score in the original, but, like, this one just lacks the talent of Jerry Goldsmith, and just, like, nobody, from the director to all the way down to anybody else involved in this, gave anything to this inferior remake, other than just make this version just boring, makes you want to go watch the original, to watch what you had to sit through. Like, just the same. Nanny commits suicide, jumping off a roof. A priest trying to warn Thorne about his son gets killed by the pole in shitty CGI, where it looked realistically better than the original movie. The one real embellished scene is where a character that's killed by having their hospital drip interfered with, they're getting thrown out of a hospital window. That's, like, the one difference, is the hospital death scene. But now, guys, like, yeah, let's just get on with this fucking finale. Finale You know how this ends if you've seen the original film. We're all aware how it ends. Robert takes the daggers, goes home, gets attacked by Mia Farrow nanny, leaves Rottweiler, and the Rottweiler, traps the Rottweiler in the basement. Then in Damien's room, he finds a 666 birthmark. And then Mia Farrow nanny's the one who attacks Robert next. He fends her off, takes Damien, and drives to a nearby cathedral and kills Mia Farrow nanny in the process. But this attracts the police, who just randomly start pursuing him for some weird reason whatsoever. We don't know why they're pursuing him. But Robert gets to a church and is about to kill Damien, but he takes too fucking long. Says a prayer, but like, just kill him already. Don't say a fucking prayer. Stop wasting your time and just get on with it and kill him. I did kind of want to say that in the original film too, like just kill him and be done with it. But then the SWAT just magically boop, pops out of nowhere this time around, and they shoot him. That's how the original ends. Like, you know how it's gonna end if you watch this version after you see the original. You just know the good guys aren't gonna win. So what's even the point of watching this film? So then the Pope then magically dies. At Robert's funeral, gets attended by the President of the United States. He's holding Damien's hand, gets notified that his car's there, and so, much like how the original ends, with the final shot of Damien looking at the audience and smiling knowingly at them, you get that here too. Yep. You get that here as well. Same ending. Yep. Ends all the same as the original film. Except the last shot this time, the smile looks pathetic. The original, when Damien smiled at the audience in the original film, the smile looked creepy, and the smile looked very effective. Here, he's like, the smile just looks so lifeless. As if this kid doesn't care about being in this film at all. Then again, I don't think anybody would care about being in this film. Yeah, what's more, guys, that apparently what doesn't help is that apparently there was a scandal about this film around 2021 in Croatia where the Dalmatia country, Bohan, he confessed to the Minister of Tourism that because they want to chase this film crew away, they staged a fire in Salona. And that became the movie set for the scenes filmed in the country, but because apparently they wanted to make it look like Saint was supposed to come out of the tomb of St. Domus, and then the director told the media that the cost of relocation was $500,000 at the time, and then police announced to be investigating the case, but Bowman denied the whole thing, that he was joking. What kind of an excuse is that? If that's even the case, like, you just almost destroyed a set with your carelessness to try and make it look like Saint was coming out in a scene. So you just exposed yourself and just tried to hide it. Apparently, y'all commentary reveals that the accidents in the beginning, that they basically put that limo there to block the people from accessing the whole area of Rome. And apparently the audio commentary reveals that got the Rome people irritated. Like, yeah, you can't just block off a fucking area to film a scene. It was in this, like, apparently I think they mentioned that in the audio commentary of the film. And originally Fox stated that, like, when it came out on its first day, it earned $12 million, but then Fox's president at the time, Bruce Snyder, admitted that apparently they had a little fun manipulating the figure to apparently contain the box office numbers. So these guys try to make it look successful because they must have hoped people would go see this trash remake. Okay, even if I was the age I was today, in 2006, would I go see the movie? No, I wouldn't. I would so not go see the movie. Why would I go watch this lifeless piece of shit? Why would I waste any fucking money on this bullshit remake? I'd go watch the original instead. Because that version's actually good. Would I have any good qualities with now? Would I have any good qualities with the Omen 2006? I wouldn't know, because I can't think of any. I guess if the one good thing was that audiences were actually smart to recognize this for the piece of shit it was when they all saw it. Because just about nobody likes this remake. Nobody does. There are some bad remakes that have their fans. This one has none. There's no fans of this movie. But other than that, I've got nothing nice to say about whatever the fuck this thing is. And honestly, I just don't want to talk about this boring train wreck anymore. There's just nothing else to talk about with this film. I'm just fucking done. Fuck the Omen 2006. The end. So in the end, guys, the Omen 2006 is such a horseshit remake that you're better off just sticking with 1976 and, even dare I say it, its sequel. Even the third one I would rather watch over the shite. Anyways, guys, that's it for my epic rant on the Omen 2006. And if we're going to rate the Omen 2006, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you are a fan of the 1976 movie, please just go watch that movie and not this imposter excuse of a film, because all this is a shitty, lifeless version of that same 1976 film that was done way better. And if you're wondering how I rate the Omen 2006, I'm going to give the Omen 2006 a 0 out of 10. Alright, guys. There we go. Finally, we destroyed the Omen 2006. I better go get that fucking Blu-ray and put it back in the box. Now you're all wondering, why did I own this movie? Because it came with the box set. That's why. And then again, Scream Factory always likes to pick a lot of shitty movies for releases. Like, hello, Scream Factory. When are you going to make a box set of this? They give this a box set already, please. And stop giving such shitty stuff like RoboCop 3, or Seed of Chucky, or Halloween Resurrection. Stop giving those shitty films Scream Factory releases. They're not worth shit. Or hell, any bad Halloween sequels apparently Scream Factory worthy. Hell, they even give Ghost Ship a Scream Factory release. Yeah, apparently, Scream Factory really needs to start giving making their releases of actually good films for once. Stop giving such shitty ideas for the shitty films. Until then, guys, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.